Welcome back to Learning Partners. So in this video, we are going to start another project that is real estate property listing. So many of you might be aware, like, let's say if we have to find any property, we have so many sites or portal where we can search the properties, contact the agent who has displayed that property, like that, the basic functionality, right? So what we are going to cover in this is just a normal HTML I have created. This is already pushed into my GitHub repository in the real estate folder. Now, what we are going to complete in this project is like, basically, this is not an admin application. This is kind of a website where we are going to showcase our properties, which will be created by different agents. So first of all, there are two roles in this application. First is agent. Agent is like the real estate person who is going to create the properties on this portal. That will be visible over here. Then second role will be customer. Normal customer who can see all the properties from the website and he can send the inquiries to that particular property owner also. It's very basic, but it has so many business logic also because this is very popular domain where we have the website kind of applications, correct? Now, what agent can do, like first agent and the customer, two different roles are there. So we will need a login page plus registration. Then once user login, let's say if user is agent, we have to allow him to create property. Once he create the property, he should be able to see all the properties created by him because different agents will be there. It's not an application for one particular agent. We are creating a portal where all the agents can register and they can post their properties. So we have role-based authentication also. Website plus role-based app. Correct. So agent can create the properties. Let's write it down over here. Then you can see properties created by him. He can only see the properties created by him only. Create property, then update and delete is also there. Then in case of customer, now just normally customer should not be forced to log in, but I just need a details. I just need to capture the details from the customer. So I have for customer also, I am considering that he will log in. So login and registration will be done. Then what he can do, customer what can do, only he can make an inquiry from here. If we click on make an inquiry, one pop-up should be there. And in that, he will just post whatever inquiry he has and the API call will be there. So that respective property owner means agent who has created this property will get an inquiry. Add inquiry. That's it. So for customer portal, we don't have that much thing. Majorly in agent portal also. And after properties creation, you can see inquiries received for properties. So this is just a small application. So here role-based login, role-based authentication and role-based things hide and show also you will be able to see because we have two role agent and the customer. Correct. Now the project I will be using is Angular 17. So I have created the basic project repository. Repository also you can see the same name, a real estate listing app in Angular. So I will be pushing code after some days because I need to make some UI changes. Basically, when I record the video, I keep the basic functionality ready. Then I will again flourish the UI. Then I push the code. So this is the Angular 17 project. So in my laptop, I have 17.3 installed. So you can see this is. Then I have installed Bootstrap and Font Awesome. Just two extra things I have added. Once you install the Bootstrap and the Font Awesome, you need to add the entries in the style.json also. So you do like that. Correct. So these are the basic thing. Now let's discuss what are the components we are going to need. So whatever the pages we decide, just like that, we are going to need the component. So in app folder, I will be creating a folder pages, and inside this, I will create my component. So on click of right click on the pages folder, open an integrated terminal. You need to create the components. So ng generate component. First is like login component. I will create. All are different pages. So let me just create all the components. So here you can see I have created 4 components. First is like create property, a page where agent will be able to create the property, login page. Login page will be both for agent and the customer. This will be the only login page. Then property list, once agent create the properties, he will be able to see the properties over here, created properties only, where he can update and delete. Then we have registration page. Again, the as I said, like login page will be single only. So just like that, registration page will also be single, customer and for the agent also. Then app component. So whatever the content you are seeing over, this all content will go into our app component because that is our parent component. So whatever the website look and feel we have, that we will put it in the app component. Either we can create a home component also, but it's unnecessary thing. So we will use app component over here. Now, so here you can see these are the HTML pages I have created. Let's try to one more thing. So you have to use the CSS from this. So whatever the styles CSS you have now, because this is a website, I have also copied it from somewhere. So to get the look and feel same, you need all this CSS. So that I have already pasted in my style.css. It is commented. Yeah. Okay. So whatever the global styles are there now, we have put it over here. Now, let me check if application is running. Yeah. So here you can see this is the basic application. Now we need to create the routes also. So once we create the component, next thing we should do is create the routes. So again, like as you have might seen my previous videos, I have already explained like what new things are there in Angular 17. So we have got app route.ts. So here we need to create the routes. So first path, then login. We will be creating a default route because in the app component we have no, I think it will break. We need the routing. So to show the list of to show this basic landing page, we will need home component because otherwise where else we will have the our navbar. Sorry, router outlet. So let's create one more component that will be home component. Home component will be responsible to showcase our properties. And in app component, we will just have a navbar and the router outlet. So let's say first component, first route will be default one. Default route we are creating redirect to home, path my strategy. So this is our default route. Then we will need home component route. So here you can see if the path is empty, it will redirect to this path. So this is path we are creating. Component, home component. Just like that, we have to create the remaining routes also. Try to make use of the copy paste because if you are in the learning phase now, you should have a proper speed because if you don't have the speed, you won't get that much work done. Register because in the machine test also, you will get asked to complete this kind of application in a one day. So you need speed like that, correct? Property list. This is the last component route. So you can see we have created the routes also. Now let's close it. Now in the app component, we will need just the navbar. So let's go to the HTML part. So this is my navbar. So let's copy this. So now in app component, we will just have our navbar and our router outlet to load the activated route. So let's just save. Let's see. Yes, so here you can see we are getting the route. Why home is, yeah, home is visible. Why home is visible over here? Let me just check. Okay, we will need this hero section. We have this navbar. Let's copy this also. It should get home should get display over here, but it's getting displayed over here. Let's figure out why it is going over there. Let's add this hero section. Mhm. So this should be our, because it has a background also now. That's why I'm getting confused, like where we should keep this. So our navbar is here. Inside that navbar, we have this, and whatever the content we will be showing, it will load over here. Let's check where we are getting the home component. Let's try to inspect. Where is home component? Not able to see. Where it is going. Still, it is going over here only. Why it is going over here? Let me just check quickly. Okay. So what I did is in app component, we have kept this form and everything over here. So whatever the section you see, this is whole section, right? So navbar and the background image and this search text. So I have put this into my app component. Where it is, yeah. So you can see everything I have put it over here. After that, I have added a router outlet. So now it is behaving perfectly. And in home component, my actual section will start from popular properties. So now you get the properties. See, right? Now, so let's just do the routing part also. So we have navbar over here. So now we have three icons only. So now register will be also there. So home is the default one. So here also now when in Angular, if we have to do the routing part, so we have to make use of the router link is equal to then our route name. But in Angular 17, whatever you use, you need to import that. So in app component, in import section, you can see router outlet is here. Just like that, we need to import router link also. Then only we can use it. So this will go to the home. Just like that. Let me just add the remaining also. This will be login, register, and the properties one. Property list. Save. Here also we should navigate on click of that properties. We should navigate to our landing page only. Let's save and check if we are able to navigate. No, still we are not able to navigate. Why? So let's check if we have any error. Save all. Let's try now. So currently in the home, if we click on properties, you can see over here property list is coming, but somehow it's not proper. What we can do about this? Let me just try reshuffling the UI again. Okay, so I have fixed that. So that background image was causing the problem. So I have removed that completely. We don't need to focus on that. Functionality is the what we should be concerned about. So in home component, we are getting this. If we click on properties, we are getting this. This form and the table, we are going to toggle. Then let's add the UI of login also. So this is the login container. Let's copy. It will go to login HTML. Just like that, we will need it for the register also. Registration. The last one is create property also. Yeah, that we have already done. So let's just save all and let's check if all the pages are looking proper. So on home component, we are getting the landing page. On click of properties, on click of login, I will add some padding and the register also. So basic things are working properly. Now, first thing is like first, obviously this is a application where agent and the normal customer will log in. So first agent need to log in. So for that, we need to first complete the register part. Let me just align the UI properly. We need some padding. The app component. The app component, we should add it. Oh, it is there, but why this login page register is not working properly? Let's see. See. Yeah, so 150 should be fine. Let's make it 150. Don't worry, I pushed the code so that you will have the basic structure ready. Then you can move on with your changes. Let's check once again. So this is the home page, properties, then login and the registration part. Correct. So first thing, like we need to complete the registration part. Let me just push all the code. Now barcode, commit, push it. Now, so in case of registration, we need to make the API call. Now let me show you the APIs. So there is a domain that is project API.jirasim.in. You just hit it, you will get this wagon. So here, this is just a new domain I have created. From here, you can see the new projects. So real estate is the controller which you have to check. So in this controller, you have so many APIs. So whatever the APIs we are going to need for this project, that all APIs are over here. So here you can see add new agent. This is the API which we need to, if we have to register as an employee, sorry, agent. So now registration page is single only. Full name, email ID, username, password. And here you can see, are you a customer or are you agent button is there. This will be toggleable. And if you see, we have add new agent and add new customer. So if user clicked on add new agent, are you an agent? If this is selected, we need to call this API. Otherwise, we need to call this API. So based on the on click of register, if this is selected, we need to call the add agent. If this is selected, we need to call the add customer. Correct? So let's create the object. Now we need to make the API call. So before making API call, well, let's create a service also, because in the component, we should not be creating, we should not be writing our API call function. So service folder, let's create a service, ng generate service master. Now, so in Angular 17, so in previous version, we used to have app module. There we used to add the app HTTP client module, but here we don't have. But here we have app config.ts. So here in the provider section, you can add provide HTTP client like this. So this is nothing but what you used to add in HTTP client module in app module. Now over here, you can create a private object of HTTP client. This is dependency injection, but from Angular 16, we have got something inject. We will see that in the component. Now here add agent. Now, so if you see the API, all API URL will be constant. Just the method name is going to change. So the common part, I will put it into normal variable. So this is going to be my common part. So I will put this into a normal variable. API URL string like this. Now, in this function, we are going to make our API call. So this dot HTTP dot API call will be post. So now here we will use our template literal so that we need to bind the data. Dollar this dot API URL. After that, we need method name, that is add new agent. This is the method name. So this will go over here. Now post method always needs the two parameters. This is the URL. Then we need the object also. Object we will get it from the component. So that we need to catch over here, and this object we will pass it. So our service function is created. Now let's go to our register page. So we have created service, and in service we have created API call also. Now what we have to create the object. So this is the object which we need. So let's copy this over here. Register obj any. Now I'm not creating class or interface just to limit the video length, but you can create it if you know. If you don't know, I have created another videos also. You can follow those. New date, created date, we have to send the by default date. So new date like this. User ID is the primary key, so we have to keep it 0. Project name, you have to ignore it because this is only for me. I use it in the API. Remaining things you will be binding. Role also you don't need to send. So just have this field in the object role and the project name, but you don't have to bind that. Now, so we have created object that this object we need to bind to the form, but we are going to use the template form. So for template form, we need to make use of the form module. So again, we don't have app module, but in the component only, we need to add the forms module like this. Now, over here, we need to bind the ng model. So square bracket, round bracket, ng model, double quotes equal to. And since ng model we are using inside the form tag, name attribute also get mandatory. Otherwise, you will get the error. Register object dot. Now this is common. So let's replace that. Everywhere we have this. Let's replace that. Correct? So now here, we just need to bind the properties. So username will go over here. Then we have email ID. Email ID will go over here. Then we have full name, that is the first text box, and the password. Remaining things we don't need to bind. Correct. Now, here, if we click on this button, means agent, we need to set register object. We just need to know like which button user has clicked, correct? Let's instead of submit, it should be button only. So we will create one variable where we will decide what user has clicked. Is agent colon boolean. By default, I will make it false. Now, if this variable is false, we'll add dynamic class over here. Now, we are adding a dynamic class over here. So I'm not using ng class because if we have to use ng class, again, common model, you need to import it. So if agent is true, if this variable is true, then we will add this class, otherwise this class. So let's copy this. If agent is true, we will add primary class. Otherwise, we will, let's say, secondary class we will add. Let's copy. Now this is for customer. So if agent is true, means if we clicked on this button, this variable will get true. So let's write the click event also. Let me just complete it, then you will understand what I'm doing. So on this button click, what we need to do, we just need to make this variable true. So rather than creating function, I'm simply changing the variable value over here only. And over here, we need to make it false. Now, so if this variable is true, means if we click on this button, this class will be added. That is primary and secondary won't be activated. But if this is false, this is for false. So then this will be added and this won't be removed. Okay, so let's just save this. If that dynamic class is getting added or not. Into register form. No, something is wrong. No class is getting added. Let's check why it is not getting added. Only button is there. Why it is happening like that? Do we have to use class name? Let's try class name. That is also not working. Oh no. So you can see somewhere I think we forgot to add the name class. That's why it is there. Yeah, anywhere we didn't add property. So you see, if we add, it is not just enough to add the name property, you need to have the value also. Let's save. Yeah. Instead of class name, let's get a class only over here. Why both are having the same? Let's see, button secondary is added, but still it is highlighting. Why it is highlighting still? Let's see from where we are getting the CSS button. Okay, from style. So let's remove that. On line number 2113. Control G 2113. It's not there. 2113. Where is the color then? Where we are getting the color? 2560. Let me just remove this. Some classes were already there. That's why the confusion is there. So let's try the success. Yeah, okay. So success was fine. So you can see if I click over here, no, why still not? Okay, it is behaving vice versa. So if I click over here, this is getting activated kind of thing. Let's consider BTN success as an active one. So let's move that over here. So we will consider success as activated. So you can see it is behaving properly. Now, on click of register, we need to make the API call. But based on the button click, what user is, we have to trigger the API call. So we have created one API call for the add agent. Just like that, we need to create another function for add customer. And it will be add new customer. Correct. Now on this button click, instead of type submit, always try to use the submit logo for the submit. So click on register. Now in this function, we need to decide which API call we are going to make by checking this variable. So if this dot is agent is true, means we have to make the API call of the agent. Now, so here you can see this is the dependency injection. This is how we used to do previously. But from Angular 16, we have a new way, that is inject. So let's say we have to create an object of master service is equal to inject you can use, and in inject you need to pass the service name like this. So this is equivalent to what we used to do in the constructor. Now here this dot master service dot, if it is agent, we need to call this function add agent, the same object, this dot register object. Then we need to subscribe. Oh, we forgot return. So you can see if we forgot the return, we won't get the subscribe. See, it is not suggesting because we forgot the return statement over here. Now subscribe will be visible because we are returning the data type of observable. Unless function is not returning observable, we cannot subscribe to it. So now we are able to subscribe it. Result colon any. Now, all my API will be returning the data type of this particular object is going to return. So you need to check result property. So if you get the result property as true, means API call was success. If you get any error, you will get it false, and in the message property, you will get the error. And data you will get the in the data property. So here, if res dot result check we need to add. Alert if result is true, we will say registration success. And once we register is success, we can navigate to login page so that we will ask user to log in. So for login also, we have to navigate from .ts. So we will make use of the router service. Again, inject router like this. It is not suggesting router. Now, so once user is successfully registered, we will navigate him to login. Navigate by URL, and where we have to navigate on the login route. So login. Just like this, I will just copy paste. This is a for if statement for agent. Then we will need for customer also. Instead of add agent, it will be add customer. Everything will be same, correct? Just API call we are going to change based on the flag. So let's try saving all, and let's see if we are able to create the customer and the agent. Let's open the network tab. Let's see, we will create some proper user. Let's say Arnav. Let's say this is the full name, email ID arnav@gmail.com. Dummy.com we will use. Then let's say Arnav. Login username we are keeping it as Arnav. Password let's say 2233. 223344. And this is the agent. So I clicked on this. Now, if we click on the register, let me just write this username also over here. Password is 223344. Now, if we click on the register, see add new agent is there. And registration is success also. Now, let's check get all agent API to check like data is successfully created or not. Yeah, so here you can see data is successfully created. Correct. Now and after registration, it has successfully navigated to login page also. Again, let's try one customer. Sushant. Normal website, we don't have to normally log in as a customer, but since we have to cover the role base, so I have kept functionality like that. This is a customer. Password will be 334455. Let's get it. Shan, and password is 334455. And this is a customer. Let's see the network call. On click of register, you can see add new customer API call is there. Let's check the customer also it is created or not. Yes. So here you can see uh, customer and agent creation is successfully done. Now we need to check the login part. Now here we have the login API. So before login API, we have to create the service also. So in service, let's just copy paste. Function name will be login, and just the method name is going to change. Remaining is going to be same only because login is also post, correct? And this is the object which we need. So let's copy. Now we have to go to the login component. Here we have to create the login object. Again, forms module we have to add because we are going to bind the template form. ng model. Let's bind it properly. Login object dot username. Then password. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Let's paste it over here. Let's make it button. Now on click of login, we need to call the API call function. So again, click on login. Let's create this function. Again, we need to create the instance of our master service. Inject master service. Now here we are going to make the API call. So this dot master service dot login, and we need to pass the login object. Then we can subscribe to that because function is returning the data type of observable. Again, if statement just to check if API call is success or not. We will show the alert like login success. And extra part we need to do is once user is successfully logged in, we need to store the logged in data to the local storage because while adding inquiry or while creating property, we need the logged in user ID. So local storage dot set item. And while storing the data, we need to convert it into the string format also. Real user, just the key name I'm giving, JSON dot stringify. This is the method which we can use to convert the data, res dot data. And in else, we will show the error message, whatever we get from the API call. So alert res dot message. Correct. So let's check. And once user is successfully login, we will again navigate back to the home page. So that we will do. Again, we need the router update. Let's copy. So this dot router dot navigate by URL, and we need to navigate back to the home page. Let's just save all and let's try if login is working. Now we are in the login. What was the detail? Let's log in with customer. Now, if we click on the login, so you can see login API is success, and we are successfully navigated to the home component also. Let's check the local storage. So see, we have got the response. Role also we have got. So while mentioning, I said you like, so we don't need to send the role. And project name it also we don't need to send, but we have got it. So whatever the data we got from the login API that we have saved to the local storage. So here you can see that data got saved properly. Now, once user is logged in, we should hide the login and the register button because user is logged in. So we should show the logged in username and the logout button. So let's do that. So now in app component, we have our navbar in the app component. So in app component, we need to write the code to hide and show the login and the registration link. So for that, we need to read the local storage data. So logged, I'm just creating a variable logged user data colon any in constructor. I need to read the local storage data. So constant local data local storage dot get item. To read the data, we have to make use of the get item method. And this is the key where we have stored the data. We need to add a null check if local data is there, if not null, or you can add like this also. Then we will assign the data to this variable. So log user data. But while remember, while storing the data, we stored in string format. So again, we need to convert it back. So JSON dot parse method we have to use, and this local user data we need to pass it. Now this variable knows like if data is, what do we say, data is created or not. Means user is logged in or not. So this variable we will use it over here as an ngif. Now, if we have to use the ngif now, we have to import the common module. So we can avoid that. We can make use of the control flow statement that is at the rate if, and we need to pass the condition. If this variable is there, or if this is variable there, we need to show the login username. So let's remove this, and it will be logged in user data dot username we have to show, and here we will have a logout button. We need to write a function. On logout, what we need to do, we need to clear the local storage data. So let's just write that also. So local storage dot remove item, and what we need to remove, whatever the key we have stored, and we need to make this object undefined again. Coming back over here. So if we have some, if this variable is not undefined, this if block will execute. Then at the rate else block, we need to have these things. So let's just save and check if this is working properly or not. Currently, we have data in the local storage. So you can see it is, but username is not printed over here. Why not? Let's check. Okay, capital N is there. I use small one. So see, if user is logged in, login name is visible and the logout button is also visible. If we click on logout, again, it is behaving like this, right? Now, so login part is, let's try to log in again. Now, we have done the registration part and the login part. Next part will be, we need to, in agent login, we need to create the property. Now, again here, if the logged in role is agent, then only we need to show the properties, because from here we are going to create the property. So this also let's do. So in logged in data, let's add a at the rate if statement again. If the logged in user role is agent, then only we need to display this link. So this link will go over here. Let's say Only home icon. Why home icon is visible? So this is not working properly or what? If this condition is not true, currently user data is undefined. So this else block should execute, no? But that is also not visible. Why is it? No, some error is there. Okay. Now you can see by default it is undefined. So we cannot read something out of undefined. No, so we just need to add one more else check. And then so this is like we are adding a null check. If it is not null, then only we will go over here. Okay, so now you can see it is proper. Let's try to log in with agent. Login username was Arnav and password was, again, we are going to face one more issue, but I will display that now. So now you can see on click of login, API call is there. We are successfully logging also. But still we are not able to see the username and the logout button because what we have did over here in app component on the page load, we have read the local storage data. But once we log in, this component is not going to re-render again. Na? But if we reload, it will work fine. See, it is working fine. But what we need to do from login component, once we do the login, we need to tell in app component that logged in is success. So here we are going to create the subject because from login component, we need to send event, or you can say you need to inform the app component that login is success. You can read the local storage data again. So let's create the subject over here on login dollar colon observable. Sorry, we need to create a subject. Subject behavior we will use. It's not suggesting. Let's add the import first. Behavior subject. Data type will be Boolean. So this is how we have created a subject. Now, once user log in, we need to emit the value of this subject. So in login component, before navigating back, we will emit. So master service dot on login dot next. Next is the operator which we need to use. So here we will emit the true. And we need to subscribe to this subject into our app component. So in constructor, I will do that. Master service we didn't create it, right? So let's create this also. I hope you might have understood why we are doing this, because once user log in, we were not able to get the means that again log off and the username was not visible because the logged user data, we were reading the data on the page load only. But once user log in, again we need to read the data. So for that, we need a callback over here. Subscribe. Here, whatever we have written over here, this we have to read over here. Let's move this into function. Observe. So this we will call it on the page load also. And again, once we subscribe like this. Let's save all properly. Now, let's log off. Now, if we go to the login page, so now you can see logged off use means the login username and the logout button is coming properly. Because once we do the login, we are emitting this subject, and in the app component, this subscribe will execute, and again we are reading the data. Correct? So next part is like, you can see properties is visible because this is an agent. So next part is like, we need to complete the create property, update, delete part, list also we need to show. And once we do this, then we will complete this part and make an inquiry. Just two more modules are remaining. Right, so we are logged in with agent. So now we can see the properties option is coming, link is coming. So now we have to complete the create property and the listing also. So here you can see we below at the table, we have the table also and the form also. So what we need to do, we just need to have a button over here so that we can toggle between the list view and the form view. So let's close everything. In the create property, I will create a button is list view, just a variable I'm going to create with data type boolean, by default false. And this variable will decide, like, do we need to show the, wait, here it is. This component wouldn't be of use because only one component we have to create the property and to list also. So now this will decide. So here is the container and here is the table, correct? So here we need to have a button also somewhere. So let's just adjust a thing. Again, we will add just a container. And inside this container, we will move our table. Now over here, we will use @ if, and the variable will be this. If this variable is true, is list view. So here it will be with false. Then inside this div, we have the form. So if the variable is false, then we will render this div @else. We will have table inside this div. So let's just save and check if we are getting properly. So now you can see only create view form we are getting, because by default we have already said it false. If we make it true, we should see the list. Correct? Now we just need to have a button which will toggle it. So let's get the button at the top. So here we will have a button class. Again, we just need to make a dynamic view, dynamic class also, so that button should be selected. Class is equal to, if this variable is true, so we will add this class, otherwise this class. So let's add it btn success, and otherwise btn secondary class. And here we will say toggle view. And on click of it, what we need to do, we just need to toggle the UI. Means we just need to toggle the value of this variable. So this is equal to not of this. Since it's a Boolean value, so whatever the current value is, vice versa of that. If it is true, false, we will be assigning. So let's check. So here you can see it is working properly. Let's just assign this button to the right side, and but still it is going out of view. Let's add button SM also. Instead of adding this button over here, let's add it in the container itself. This is the container over here also, and over here also. Okay, so now it's fine. Now, so here, why so many spaces there? PT3. Let's make it PT1, or 0 also is fine. Okay. Now we need to create the property. So let's check the API for create property. So here you can see add new property. This is the API which is going to create the property. Now here you can see property ID is our primary key, title, description, property type. This is going to be string only. Then here we have agent ID. So agent ID is nothing but the foreign key, means whatever the logged in agent is, that ID we need to send it. Now here you can see, let's just copy this. Uh, while creating API, I have added a way by which you can provide a multiple images also related to the particular property, but that we are not going to cover. Just the basic property creation we are going to focus. So let's create this. Now here, property object, colon any, correct? Let's replace string with empty double quotes. And array, this array we will send it as empty. Created date, we will send new date. So default whatever date it is, correct? Now, so this we have created, object we have created. Now we need to bind this object to the form also. So again, ng model is going to be there. So forms module. So you might be figuring like in every component, I use the template just because I don't want to increase the length of the video. But if you know the reactive form, please go ahead and use the reactive form now. So this is the div. Now again, this div, all our form element inside the form. So name tab, name attribute also get mandated. So name is equal to, and then we will need square bracket, round bracket, ng model. What we need to use it, property object dot. This is going to be common. So what I will do is, let's just copy paste it. Try to learn the copy paste things because it will save your time so that you can focus on the functionality more. Otherwise, you will be wasting time. Now here we just need to bind the particular field with the particular object property. So the first one is, let me just move it back, title. So this will go over here also, and here also. Then we have description here also, here also. Property type. Where is property type? Yes, here. For property type, you can create a drop down also, which will have, let's say, 1 BHK, 2 BHK, villa, something like that. Whatever you feel. Then we have price. Where is the price? Yeah. For price, you can keep it as a number. Then we have thumbnail image. So thumbnail image like the image what you are going to display. Then pin code, address details, state, city, and the address. That's it. Then. So we have binded all the properties. Now we need to, let me just save it. Now we are going to create an API call. So obviously again in the service, we need to create one more API call function. So just like add customer, I will just copy paste because that is also post API property. Let's just check the URL also. Add new property. Always try to get the URL from Swagger. Don't assume anything and write it by your own. Correct? So add property API call is there. Now in property list, we need to create the instance of our service. So again, master service is equal to inject. What we need to use? Master service. Like that. Now we need to create a function. So create new property. Now this dot master service dot add property is the function which we'll be calling. We need to send the object. So this dot property object dot subscribe result colon any. Again, if else check just to make sure like if result is success or not. Alert. What do we say? Property created successfully. Else we might get some error. That error also we will get it from the API only in message property. Message. Correct? Now this function we have to call on the submit button. Instead of submit, let's make it button. Let's call the function on click event. Right? Now, create property is done. We have created object. That object we have binded on the button click. We are going to make the API call. But in this component only, we have the list view also, correct? So we need another function call, which will get all the property detail. So let's just copy. Now, here is a catch. So while, okay, one more thing like, let's go to, okay, so property object is there, but we need to send the agent ID also. So agent ID means logged in agent ID. So we have stored the logged in agent ID now somewhere. From login, we have stored the data that we need. So that is nothing but this. Let's just copy this function. Let's put it over here. And we will implement ng on in it because on the page load, we need to call the function get API call also to get all the properties. Implements on in it. Once we do the on in it, it will ask us to implement ng on in it. And this function we will call it, or let's copy this and paste it over here. Logged user data we won't be needing. Or let's create it. Now, once we get the data, we need to call the API call. So in master service, get all property by agent ID means whatever the logged in agent is there, we just need to show the properties created by him only, no? Correct? That was the purpose of role-based login. Whatever the user is logged in, we need to show the data of that particular user only. Correct? So let's check the API. So here you can see, where do we have that? Oh, I forgot to create that API because we need one API where this is get all property means all the properties we are going to get. This we are going to call on the landing page, but we need another API that we will get that we will filter it out by the agent ID. So for now, what I will do, I will just filter it out once I get the array because in this API we have the agent ID. See, so I will filter it out. But by the time you will see this video, you will have that API, get all property by agent ID. You can use that API. But for now, I will just filter it out. So get all property. Correct. Now, this function we have to call. So let's just copy get all. Make sure you are using another API, which I will be providing. We don't need to pass the parameter for now. And I will be pushing the code also with the same. So you can have a reference to that. Get all property doesn't need a parameter for now. And it won't be a get, it will be get, not the post one. We'll just need the URL. Now, whatever the data we get, that we are going to get in a variable. So let's store that. All list is equal to res.data. Now we just need to filter out the record. And whatever the record we get, that we need to store it also. So property list :any empty. Correct. So whatever the data we get, that we will store into this variable. So we have got the data. Now we need to filter it out. So this dot property list is equal to all list dot filter. So we are going to get multiple records with the matching agent ID. Dot agent ID is equal to. Now in this variable, we have the logged in agent ID. Logged in agent ID is nothing but user ID. So here we are just filtering out. We just need to provide the data type like this. Why it is still giving error? Okay. So what we did, whatever the API response we got in this from this API, we are going to get all the properties created by all the agent, correct? So we are just filtering out the data by logged in ID. And this we will use it on the table to iterate. So at the rate for loop, we will use over here, and the TR will go inside this like this. So let's check what fields we are getting. Like that, we will bind. So thumbnail image. So instead thumbnail image, we will show in the image tag src item dot. Always make sure you're copy pasting it from the response. Don't use the object what is there for creating item dot. Then we have title. So title is there. We just copy paste. Then we have property type. Property type. Then we have description. This is the description. Then city. So if you see in the Gate API, you are getting everything, but it is not mandatory that you show everything. You can limit the data also. Okay. And we need the dollar index. We will print it over here with +1 because indexing will start from the 0. So we have to show it from 1. Let's just save all. Let's check. Let it reload. Oh, we forgot. So this function we have created, but now page load, we need to call it also. No? So in NGO on init, we will call that. This dot get all property. So on the page load, this function will get called. So now here, if you see, we have got around 3 records, but currently logged in user ID is, let me just show you the logged in user ID. So logged in user ID is 75, but I think we don't have any property created yet by this agent ID. 64 is there, 66 is there, and 69 is there. So let's create a property first. Toggle view. One more thing. So here you can see in the property object, we had the agent ID. So this also we need to update. So once we got the logged in user ID, we need to update that also. So this dot property object, this dot property object dot agent ID is equal to this dot logged in user data dot user ID. User ID is nothing but agent ID, right? So let's try to create the property now. Toggle view. And for creation now, I will be using, so there are certain, there is a domain from which I'm using the API images. So this is the URL. Let's try to use this. So let's say I'm just giving a name like 1 BHK. 2000 square feet row house. Just a title I'm giving. Test description, address, Flower Park, city Pune, state MH, 440032. Property type, let's say 1 BHK. I said like here you can create a drop down and price will be, let's say 35 lakh. Then thumbnail image, I'm copy pasting this, whatever the image will be there. Let me just show you the image also. So this is the image, just the image I'm using. You can use any Google image. Make sure this is not a file upload. You need to provide the URL. So you can use any Google image and paste it over there. Now, so once we click on add property, you can see property created is successfully. Let me show you the object also. So payload, You can see agent ID is there. So this agent ID we don't have in the form, but we have read the local storage data and from there we have sent it. But after creation, let's go back. So here again, we are not able to see because we didn't again call the get API. So if I refresh, I will be able to see. See, first record we are able to see. But once we create, again, we need to call the get API also. So this function, we will call it once property is created. Let's add the style and width and height. Width, let's say 100 pixel, and height also same. Just a small image we will display because in the landing page, we are going to display the actual image. Correct? Now, if we create, let's say 2 BHK, 23,000. Just adding the dummy detail, name. Here in database, I have specified for the pin code, I have specified like 6 digit. Let's try to add more. We should get an error. Thumbnail image. Let's try the second one. Yeah, it is there. So you can just increment image underscore 2, 3, 4, 5. You will get the images. Now on click of add property, you can see we are getting the error because string or binary data will be truncated. Because for the pin code in database, I have just the maximum limit as 6 digit, but we have tried to send the 7 digit. Now, if I remove this and add property, you can see project created successfully. Now, if we go back, you can see 2 records are visible. Correct? So this is how we have created the property. Now on click of edit, we just need to toggle the view, form view, and this data should be plotted over there. So for that, let's create a function, click on edit, and we need to send the complete object, means item. Let's create this function. Now what we need to do first, whatever the data we get, data colon any, we need to assign it to our object, means this dot, because this is the variable which we have binded to the form. So here only you need to assign. So this dot property object is equal to data. And you need to toggle this also. Is list view to false. So let's check if we are in the editable mode. On click of edit, you can see it is in the editable mode. Let's go back to BHK. So whatever the record we are editing, it is coming. For update, we have another API. So here you can see for update property, we have another API. So let's create one more function in our service. So just like add property, one more function that will be for update. And it should be put one. Oh, again, I forgot. It is post one only. So let it be post one only. Just the URL is getting changed. So let's paste over there. Normally it should be put, but while creating API, I have keep it post only. So I copy paste the add one. So it is post only. Now in the form, we have this add property button. In case of update, we should have a update button. So how do we decide that? We can make use of this property. So how can we decide like add property button we need to show or update property? So in property object, if property ID is 0, so we get to know like we are creating new property. So sorry, we will use @ dot. Let's get the property ID. Always try to copy paste the field name because if you make the spelling mistake, you won't get the error and nothing will work also. So if property ID is 0, we will show the add button. this one, and in @else, we will show the update button. So this will go over here. Let's change the color also. And instead of create, it will be update. Let's create this function. Object will be same only, correct? So just like this, we will create this. Instead of add, it will be update property and updated success. Just like this update, we are going to need the delete also. So let's write the code for that also. Now let's check for the delete. For delete property, you need to send the method name is delete, HTTP delete, and the ID you need to send, that is property ID. So on click of it, we need to send the property ID. So this dot property ID we need to send on delete. And on delete, we will call the function, but we have to show the confirmation box also. So for that, we will use the confirm box. Constant is delete confirm. Here we will showcase the message. Are you sure want to delete? Just a confirmation message we will be taking. If it says yes, so we will get true over here. And if it is true, we will call the API call. So we will need one more function. This will be delete, and we will have the ID. It will have data type as number. Let's get the URL name. So just check like how URL should be. So this is how your URL should be. So let's copy this. Let's paste it over here. This one will be static one. So whatever the ID you will get over here. Sorry, not as the second parameter over here, dollar curly bracket and ID. Instead of post, it will be delete because HTTP delete method will be there. Now in property list, we will just copy paste the same thing over here, delete property. And from once we are calling the function, we are passing the ID. So that ID we will catch it over here. And this ID we will pass it over here as a parameter. Property deleted successfully. Again, we will get all the property. Now let's just test all the flow. So we should be able to create already done, update and the delete thing we need to test now. So this was first one. So I'm just removing the row house. Let's click on, you can see update property button is visible on click of update. Some error is there. Let's check one more time. Update property. Result is coming false and message is also empty. Let's go back and check. Yeah, it is updating, but I think from API side, I'm not sending the proper formats. You can see it is updated. Even if you refresh, you can see that row house got removed. Now on click of delete. Let's try delete. You can see we get that confirmation pop-up. If I click on cancel, nothing happens. But if I click on OK, that property got deleted. And after delete, that is after we delete, we call the get API and record is also got removed. So we have created the property and that property got displayed in the list view also. Now let's go back to the home page. Whatever the properties we have created, we need to display that. Let me just create some properties now. So what I have done is I have created one more agent, that is Mangalmurthy developers. And in that I have created two properties. Now in the home section, that is our landing page. So here we want to show all the properties created by all the agents, right? So this is the API that will be get all properties. So let's try to execute. So currently here you can see we are getting some properties that we need to display over here. So get properties function API call we have already created, where it is this. So this we need to call on the page load, means home component. Now over here, let's create the service object is equal to inject master service. On the page load, we need to make the API call. So on init, we need to call Then we need to implement also. Once we implement, it will ask to create the ng function. So let's create that. We will need one more function, get all properties. This dot master service dot get all property result colon any, whatever the response we get, that we will store it into a variable. So let's create that variable property list colon any square bracket is equal to empty. Why it is giving error? We didn't subscribe. Whatever the response we will get, that we will store into this variable. So res dot data. Now this we need to call on the page load. So on the ng unit we will call it. So once the component load, we will have the data property list into this variable. Now this we need to bind into over here. Now this is the column which is repeating. See, we just need to remove all the static one and we will make it dynamic. So let's remove this. Now here at the rate if, sorry, at the rate for loop we need to use on this variable, and this div will be moved inside over this. Now here we need to bind the image. So let's href we don't know. Instead of the static one, now we need to bind item dot. What are the things we are getting? Thumbnail image. We have to bind it over here. Then this is going to be my price. So item dot price. Then this is the address. Item dot address. Then city. And state we can show over here. State. Like this. Then here, instead of showing like this, we can show just one icon, like what is the property type. Item dot property type, we need to display it over here. So that is nothing but this. We'll go over here. Let's remove this href also. So let's say let's check if on the page load, we are able to see the properties. Yeah, so here you can see we are able to see the properties created by us. Let's just add, this is connected. So let's just add a spacing some. So this will be on over here, PT2. Yeah, so we have some spacing now. So you can see what are the properties we have created by different vendor. It is visible now. But we just need to show like this property, which is the vendor, or what is the agency which is selling this property. So for that, we can show an agent name over here somewhere, because in the get API, we are getting the agent name or no. Agent ID we are getting no. So I forgot to add that. So by the time you will use this API, you will have that thing. I forgot to join the two tables. So you will get the agent name also, that you can display it over here somewhere, so that he can know that this property is added by this particular agency, correct? Now, the next thing is we should be able to make an inquiry. So just one more time, like you can see currently we just have 6 property. Now in the Mangalmurthy, let's try to add one more property, toggle view. Let's get the details from over here. Let's get the title. Sakan Pune. Property type 1 BHK. So let's make it 2 BHK. Thumbnail image, we will use this only. So just like this, you can get the image and put the URL directly. Don't try to use the upload thing because that is not the functionality I have created. Now, if we go to the home tag, now you can see whatever the relatives we have created, it is visible now. Correct. So this is how you will be able to display all the properties created by. Now, here comes the customer part. So let's try to log in with the customer. So in the starting, we have created one customer with the login user, this Sushant. Let's log in with Sushant. Sushant is a normal customer. Same. Let me show you the network tab also. In the sessions list local storage, we have stored the data, right? So here you can see role is customer. So this is a normal customer. Now, let's say Sushant is visiting this portal and he wants to inquire about this particular property. So what he will do on make inquiry, we need to open the model pop-up and then we need to integrate the add inquiry API. That is this, right? So let's get the model pop-up code, bootstrap tutorial. We need the model pop-up. So let's get this model pop-up. In the home component. At the bottom, I will put this title, make an inquiry. And here we will have just a text area. Placeholder, add your message. Now, here we will need a form module also. So forms module. Let's create a variable that will be, let's say, message colon string empty, and this variable we will bind to our text area. Square bracket, round bracket, ng model. Like this. Now, on click of, instead of close, we will need a save button also. Let's make it as a success. Make inquiry. Now, on click of this button, we need, let me show you the object first. So if you see the add new inquiry, what do we need? Inquiry ID is the primary key. So inquiry ID is my primary key, so we don't need to see it in. User ID will be logged in user ID, means customer ID. Property ID is in where user has clicked on which property he has clicked on. That property ID we need. And the message, inquiry date again, by default date we can set. So on this button click, we will open the model. So click, open inquiry model. And while opening, we will send the item dot property ID also, because that's what we are going to need. Property ID. Let's check the spelling once again. Yeah, this only. Now let's create this function. Now on this, in this function, what we are going to do is we are going to open the model pop-up also, and we are going to get the ID also. So we need to create an object. That object will be this. Let's create the object now. Inquiry obj colon new. And here it will be new date. Now, whatever the ID we will get, that ID we will store into this inquiry object dot in property ID, because the property ID we are going to get is equal to ID, right? And we need to open the model pop-up. So constant model is equal to document. Sorry. Document dot get element by ID. And we need to pass the model ID. Model ID is nothing but this, my model. So this will go over here. And we need to add a null check. If model is not equal to null, means it has got that element. And we need to open the model. So model opening the model pop-up is nothing but we just have to add the dynamic style. style dot display is equal to block CSS we need to add. Just like that, we need the close function also. So close inquiry model. We won't have a parameter to this. And here none will be there. Correct? Now, and on click of this make inquiry, we need to call another function, make inquiry. And in this function, we will make our inquiry API call. So let's create the API call function also. So just like add property, that is going to be post API call, make inquiry. Let's get the URL, add new inquiry. Correct. Now here this dot master service dot make inquiry, and we need to send the object. Object is nothing but inquiry object dot subscribe result any. Now you remember, like, we have created this object variable, and this we have binded, right? Instead of that, we can bind this only, object dot inquiry message property. Why to create the variable again? No? Because we already created the object. Now once API call is success, so again if res dot result check alert message send success, and in the error we will show the error whatever we get from the API side. Message. Correct. Now this we have already called. Yeah, we already called. So let's test it. Save all. So currently we are logged in with session. So for this second property, we will try. Now on click of make an inquiry, you can see model pop-up is there. Message I'm sending, can we visit for this property? Just a message I'm sending. Let's check the network call. Make an inquiry. So in the payload, you can see property ID is 3, on which property we have clicked. Oh, we forgot user ID, because logged in user ID also we need to send. No? That also we forgot. So on the page load, we need to have the user ID. So again, we need to have the user ID. So this is the code to get the logged in data. This we will put it over here in ng on init. And once we get the data, let's create this variable also. We will assign it to over here. So this dot inquiry object dot user ID is equal to logged in user data dot user ID. So user ID is nothing but the customer ID. Let's save it again. So one default entry is there. Let me show you that. Get inquiry received by all the agent. Write out what was the agent ID. Let's try 83. Let's try first adding over here again. Test inquiry. On click of make inquiry. Now let's check the object. You can see user ID is also there, property is also there, inquiry ID, and these are the default values. On click of OK, we need to close it also. So the close function we didn't call. So let's call that close function also over here, and on close button also. And once we successfully make the inquiry, after that also we need to call this function. So model pop-up will automatically close. What was the second property created by him? That was with agent 69. Now let's check the 69 inquiries received for 69 agent. So this API is like get inquiry received by agent ID. So here we need to send the agent ID. Currently it is 0. What was the like 75? Let's try 75. Oh, where did we send the agent ID then? Let's try this. Make inquiry. Property ID is 5. Let's check the owner of the 5 number property ID. Get all property 2, 3, 4, 5. 75. Let's try 75 now. Yeah, so here you can see we have 75 agent has received one inquiry. Now, whatever the inquiry is received by this particular agent, we need to show it in the application. So just like this, let's try login with the agent 75. What was the detail? Arnav is 75 or what? Let's try. We are trying to log in with Arnav Real Estate. Login. Let's check the ID. 75. Okay. So just like the properties, we should have one more link to show the inquiries. We didn't create the component. Let's create the component also. So it will be, let's say, ng generate component inquiries. Now we need to create the route also. Let's copy paste. So this will be the last part where we are just showing the inquiries received for that particular agent. In the app component, we need, again, this is like if logged in user is agent only. So let's copy this because inquiry page will have access to the agent only because normal customer should not see the inquiries. He can only make the inquiry. Let's get the route inquiries. Let's save. Let me just save all. So currently it's empty. So we can show the inquiries in the table format. So let's just get the table we have created over here. So I'm just saving the time. Row dot call 12. Now the page load, we need to make that API call, get inquiries received by particular agent IDs. So on in it also we will need. Let's implement it. Now on page load, we need to call the API, correct? So again, we need the local logged in user data. Copy paste. Let me just copy this. This will go over here. Again, we need to create this variable. Correct. Now in service, we need to create a API call function to get all the inquiries. So just like this, API function name will be get inquiry by agent ID. Let's get the proper URL. So this is the proper URL with the agent ID, user ID as a parameter. Now here instead of 75, we will have agent ID, colon number. This agent ID, we will pass it over here. Now this API call, we need to make get inquiry. So this dot, oh, master service, we didn't create it. Master service is equal to inject master service. So this dot master service dot get all inquiries. Why it's not suggesting? Something is wrong. Let me check. Get inquiry by agent ID. And we need to pass the logged in user ID. So logged in user ID dot user ID. We need to subscribe. Oh, it's not working. Something is breaking. Let's check the console. Okay, in inquiry component. 24. This we didn't complete it. That's why it's breaking. Now, whatever the data we will get, that we will need to store also. List colon any square bracket equal to empty. Whatever the data we get, we will store into this variable. So this dot inquiry list is equal to res dot data. Now this we have to bind it over here. What things we are getting from the API? So some property name, I think I have copy pasted from Enquiry, so that are looking like that. So while writing the API, I have just copy pasted some API from complaint project. So you can see complaint details and like that is coming. Let me just bind it like that. But by the time you will get it, you will have the proper detail. Image is not there. So let's get rid of this title where we are getting the title complaint ID. Then we have details. Don't follow this. I will be changing the API details. This is, I think, city, title, then description, then complaint number. What is the complaint number? City. Then what else we have? This is title, I think. Yeah, correct only. Then inquiry date is correct one. So let's just show this much information and message also I forgot, I think. Okay, anyway, so this is just a GET API. So whatever the details you will get it in the, once I change the API, you will get the correct inquiry details and that you need to just display it over here. So that's it. Then your application will be completed. What is the error? On delete. We don't need this. Okay. Let's check. This we need to make over here. So now the page load, we will have that API call. Still, we don't have it. Where it is breaking? Saying get inquiry by agent ID. Master service, get inquiry by agent ID. It's not understanding that. It's saying master service is not a function. But what? Okay, capital inject. It should be small inject. So now you can see when API call is there, we have passed the logged in agent ID also, and we have got it, correct? So this is how you will have the complete application. So from properties, you will be able to create the properties. Then on the home page, you will have all the properties created by all the agent. Even if we do the log off, so you will be able to see all the properties created by all the agent. Normal customer will be able to make the inquiry to that particular property. and respective agent will have the enquiries available received for the properties he has created. Okay. So again, this is the domain where you will be able to see, and I will push the code. Just want to make some UI changes to make it look like proper, and I will host it also. So that's it. If you are new, please do like and subscribe to my channels. Thank you.